Hey guys, welcome to Reddit Brew. Today, I'm coming at you with another juicy Just No Mail saga. This one is about a mill nicknamed Malicious Magda. Now, if you don't know the reference, Magda is a demon who can take on the appearance of anyone she chooses, which definitely sums up this mother-in-law perfectly. Now, I will say that this first part of the saga is mostly just background and context. But like always, the parts gradually get worse and worse as time goes on, because we all know, with mother-in-laws, the crazy always comes out. But without further ado, let's get started with part 1 of Malicious Magda. Malicious Magda's racist meltdown. I am 36 weeks pregnant with my first child, a boy. My male, Magda, has fixated on us naming our child Patrick because I'm due in March. She wants us to name the baby Patrick Liam to honor her family's Irish heritage. At the beginning of my 3rd trimester, I couldn't take her constant badgering, so I blocked her number. I told my husband that all contact with her has to go through him. My husband and I are both practicing Catholics. Both sides of our family have a tradition of naming children after saints. I have a saint name, my husband and all of his siblings have saint names, my stepchildren have saint names, and Magda has a saint name. We're naming the baby Toribio Romo. Saint Toribio is a saint who was a parish priest in Mexico, in the town next to where my family's from. All of the first sons in my family are given this name. It's a tradition I'm happy to continue. I'm at brother-in-law one's house for their Super Bowl party. My wide, pregnant ass is comfortably sitting in the recliner with my feet up. I'm feeling good. My feet are up, the kids are bringing me snacks and beverages. Magda and brother-in-law's male, Linda, are talking to me about babies and child rearing. Magda is on her best behavior in front of Linda. Linda is the treasurer for our church and also runs the women's Bible study group, so she hasn't harped on naming the baby Patrick Liam. The conversation stays cheerful and light until Linda asks if we have decided a name. Magda's eyes open wide, and I coolly say, we're naming him after Santo Toribio. Before Linda can say anything, Magda starts ugly crying. Magda says Toribio is an unacceptable name. It's hard to pronounce, and his classmates will make fun of him for it. She thinks naming our child after the patron saint of immigrants is disgusting. Magda fell to the floor screaming that I've stolen her youngest son and am forcing him to turn his back on his Irish heritage. The only reason I'm with him was to get a green card and to escape my desperately poor life. She wishes my husband's late wife was still here because she was nicer, a doormat, and would never dream of giving an innocent child such a disgusting name. My stepchildren deserve a better stepmother because I'm just a gold-digging slur who is only concerned with money. Linda just looked at her in gape-mouthed horror. I just got up and walked out of the house, determined not to cry in front of Magda. I did not want to give her the satisfaction of knowing that she hurt me. Magda is in denial that I'm not only a US citizen, but I'm US born, to US born parents. She hates that my stepchildren adore me, and that they like my parents more than her. My oldest just disowned his paternal grandmother. My horrendous mill, Magda, had a racist meltdown directed at me. I'm Mexican American, at her oldest son's Super Bowl party. Luckily, my Bill's mill, Linda, was there to witness the full splendor of Magda's hurtful words. Unfortunately, the rest of the family has been working hard to sweep everything under the rug and to paint me as the bad guy. In my last post, I forgot to mention that I've known Linda since I was a kid. She was a teacher at my school. I never had her, but my older sister and a bunch of my cousins were in her classes. Magda has the story in her mind that I'm living in the US with a stolen social security number, have a desperately poor family, and am only with my husband for money and US citizenship. In her mind, my dedication to parenting my stepchildren is to brainwash them to love me so that my husband can't leave me. As a graphic designer / illustrator, I work half at the office, half at home. Mill thinks I work in a service job because of my untraditional hours. If it wasn't for me, her family would be happy and peaceful. You know, standard Just No Mail stuff. My husband's wife, Jana, died in a car accident when the youngest was 6 months old. Shortly afterward, my husband took a job across the country, where he met me. That's how I met him, at the annual company barbecue. Her family are a bunch of narc assholes, and Jana was totally the scapegoat. When she died, her family just ghosted. And the entire time I've been with my husband, Jana's family has never contacted her kids. No calls, visits, cards, nothing. But that's fine with me, because my family was overjoyed to add my husband and the kids to the family. The kids' school pictures are on my parents' living room wall, right along with all the other grandkids. I've been with my husband since the kids were 2, 4, and 6. They are now 12, 14, and 16. I'm pregnant with my first baby, due in 3 weeks. Magda loathes, with every fiber of her being, that my family loves the kids so much. It fills her with jealous rage that they prefer going to my parents' tiny house in the hood rather than her sterile tract mansion in a bland subdivision. It gets under her skin that I taught the kids to speak Spanish and that they go to a bilingual school. When she comes over to the house and Spanish language TV/radio is on, she turns it off, then makes an exaggerated sigh of relief. Magda lost her mind when my middle daughter plucked her eyebrows thin with a high arch, copied from the photos of me in high school from the 90s. Middle daughter is rocking the East LA style like her cousins. Brown lipstick, huge hoop earrings, black Chuck Taylors, big hair. I love it. This wasn't a day-to-day problem before we moved back to Southern California. Before, we lived across the country in Florida. We've been back for about 2 years now, and I am done. The day after the party, my oldest son went to my sister's house to hang out with his cousins. He told them what happened, and they got all riled up. The Latino machismo, ugh. Meanwhile, Magda had been text bombing my oldest son, pleading with him not to be upset. Magda can't help herself in talking shit about me, enraging my son further. She offered to give him Phil's old Lexus that he didn't sell when he bought his new car. My son told her to go herself. Magda called my husband at work and cried about our son, telling her to go herself. My husband let Magda cry on the phone for 30 minutes, upset at the way we let the children disrespect their elders. None of this would have happened if I just followed the family tradition of Magda being the third spouse in her children's marriages. Magda will not stop text bombing all the kids. Oldest son and my husband start arguing in the backyard. Oldest son tells my husband that he's a failure as a man, a father, and a husband for allowing Magda to act like this. I stayed out of it because I found myself agreeing with our son way too much. Oldest son also said that if my husband and I got divorced, him and his siblings would want to live with me because he'll just crawl up Magda's ass, begging her to love him. He said that he wishes that we never moved back to Southern California. He liked it better when Magda only visited once a year and stayed in a hotel. My husband ended the argument by telling our son to go to his room. When I heard my son's bedroom door slam and my husband stomping in the back room to watch TV, I took my daughter and youngest son to get burgers. At In-N-Out, they filled me in on Magda's constant texting. They haven't responded back because they're afraid of causing more fights. My heart is breaking. I felt guilty for standing my ground because it's hurting the kids with the tension. Then they start talking about all the times Magda has been mean to me, and I was nice back. I had to reassure them that my husband and I aren't talking about divorce because Magda told them that my husband and I are going to break up and my family will abandon them just like Jana's family did. She wants to reconcile because soon she'll be the only grandmother they have. She has a forgiving heart. She still loves them. I try to play it cool, even though I'm seeing red. I'm an adult with kids, a successful corporate career, and a late model minivan. But I'm still from the barrio. The East LA chola in me wants to fill a sock full of pennies and use it to beat her surgically enhanced face in. I purposefully keep the conversation in English at In-N-Out so that I can make sure I choose my words more carefully. It's getting late, we go home, and the kids go into their bedrooms. My husband tries to get me to sympathize with him over this argument him and our son had. I'm most definitely not sympathetic, and I tell him what the younger kids had told me. My husband gets angry again. I told him I'm not interested in anything he has to say because he hasn't handled his mother. I told him he needs to sleep in the TV room. I would go, but being pregnant with his son requires me to have a bed with better lumbar support. My husband stomps out of the room and slams the door. My oldest son texts me to tell me he's sorry for causing the fights between my husband and I. Me and my husband don't speak from Thursday until yesterday morning. Even though he's angry with his mom, he's also mad at me for not backing him up during the fight with our son. My daughter went through her clothes and gave everything that Magda gave her to the Goodwill. Youngest son is spending extra time practicing the piano. I know he's upset because he's only playing songs in minor key. We go to Sunday Mass and Magda isn't there. I don't take my cell phone and I don't allow the kids to take their phones to church. So when I get home, I have a voicemail from Phil. I listen to it and Phil went on for 3 minutes about how I need to resolve this conflict with Magda because it's my fault. And Magda feels uncomfortable at church because I made her out to be a monster to the other parishioners. Traditions are important in their family, and I was inconsiderate for not even discussing the choice of names with her. He also said that they still love me, even though there are many huge cultural differences between us. Also, is oldest son sure he doesn't want his old Lexus? It was my husband's turn to help clean at the chapel after the service, so when he got home from church, I had him listen to the voicemail. Afterwards, he apologized for me and asked to go to couples counseling. Linda told our priest about what Magda had said at the Super Bowl party, so instead of cleaning the chapel after Mass, the priest and my husband had a long talk. Oldest son has disowned Magda and Phil. He wrote them a no-contact letter and blocked their numbers from his phone, blocked them on Facebook, and set his email to automatically delete emails from them. I'm sad it had to come to this, but I'm impressed that our son has the fortitude at 16 to cut these types of toxic people out of his life. The kids aren't just stepchildren to me, they are my everything. I have made many personal and professional sacrifices to make sure they have the best childhood possible. I'm getting a little teary right now because I hate that Magda had spewed out such disgusting bullshit, trying to make them hate me. It hurts me deeply that she can't just be happy that her son married a good woman who loves his children unconditionally. There we go. I'm sure after Toribio is born, there will be a fresh uptick in Magda shenanigans. My husband hasn't gone no contact with her yet, so I know the fighting will continue. I'm grateful that my brother's wife is coming to stay with us for 6 weeks after the baby is born, so I don't cave to Magda in my vulnerable postpartum time. Last night, I dreamt that I cut Magda's tongue out with the kitchen knife and ate it in a taco. I woke up a little sad that it didn't actually happen. When Magda convinced her granddaughter that she was obese, my middle daughter is doing the purge. She's getting rid of everything that Magda has given her. The bags of stuff in the hall today has reminded me of why I don't allow unsupervised time with the kids. When we moved to Southern California from Florida, Magda assumed that things would go like they did with her other grandchildren. My husband is the bumper baby, 8 years apart from his older brother. The rest of his nieces and nephews are adults who have all moved away. Magda was so excited to spend time with her younger grandchildren. She offered to take them to school in the mornings, 4 days a week, and drive my daughter to her soccer practice. It was too good to be true. Right at the end of their first school year in California, my daughter started dramatically restricting her food intake. She thought she was clever by taking small portions and chewing very slowly. She started working out harder, knocking out another hour on the stationary bike after practice. She was so cranky all the time. We were on week 3 of 5 of my husband being in South America on a business trip. My daughter comes inside looking like she just finished crying. Magda follows her, looking like the cat who ate the canary. I'm busy getting dinner together, while making sure youngest son is doing his homework at the kitchen table. Magda comes over to my stove and tut-tuts what I'm making, telling me that my daughter might get depressed in high school if she stayed stocky, just because I'm Mexican doesn't mean the kids should eat beans fried in lard daily. She understands that food is cheaper in the US, but I shouldn't fall in the trap of eating rich food every day because it's available. I asked her to leave. Her eyes tear up and she fake apologizes. She just wants to make sure her grandchildren are happy and healthy. If cooking is too much of a burden, she would be more than happy to pay for a service to deliver our meals daily if we needed. My sons got really excited. I was tired from working full time and having the kids on my own, so the idea of daily meal service while my husband was gone didn't sound so bad. Joke's on me because that food was terrible, and Magda made sure to tell everyone how lazy I am when my husband's gone. Hearing my frustration with my daughter, my brother offers to take her with him when he visits his in-laws in Mexico. My Sills family are hardcore soccer fans, and she has quite a few nieces my daughter's age. She was gone for 3 days when my brother calls me. My daughter has been food restricting and overworking out because Magda has told her that she needs to have muscle definition and a flat stomach to be successful in Southern California. That my daughter is obese, and if she doesn't get it together, she will be a social pariah. She also offered to pay for breast implants as a high school graduation gift on the condition she gets and stays fit. I told my husband, and he called Magda. She at first denied saying those things before eventually admitting she's only looking out for daughter's best interest because she'll be as large as a dumpster if they keep eating my cooking. Besides, we should be proud of daughter's dedication. She works hard and looks fantastic. She non-apologized and my husband ate it up. After we got off the phone, he seemed proud of how he handled the situation. My daughter didn't look fantastic. She was too thin, pale, irritable, and she was losing a lot of hair. We fought daily over trivial stuff. My funny and easygoing girl became a hypoglycemic shrew. When my daughter did come back, she gained a little weight and had her color back. We went out clothes shopping for school when my daughter said she didn't want to play soccer anymore. I had to really pry it out of her that she wanted to quit so that Magda doesn't drive her to practice anymore. The entire time in the car, she's pinned to her seat from her bag, and Magda interrogates her about what she ate and how she works out. I wanted my husband to tell her that her chauffeur service was no longer needed. He tried to pussyfoot around it, angering Magda, and they had a huge fight, ending with Magda no longer wanting to take the kids to school. Awesome! I felt so good a few days later when Magda asked for the school schedule and I told her not to worry about it. Again, she made sure to tell everyone how I'm actively alienating her grandchildren from her. I never told anyone that she wasn't allowed to have unsupervised time with the kids. I just maneuvered it so it didn't happen. I still feel guilty about letting my daughter's brief brush with compulsive overexercising happen. I know what you're thinking. Ugh, OP's husband sucks. And I'm with you. OP's husband's actions so far, I am not impressed. But this comment did give me some faith. Sweet Saint Toribio, this woman is criminally insane. And with all due respect, your husband is an idiot for letting her do this to you and his kid. I bet she thinks anorexia isn't a thing, doesn't she? To which OP replies, the longer we've been living near his parents, the more I understand how truly broken he is. Me and my oldest son referred my husband to r/raised by narcissists this afternoon. He's been on the couch since with his tablet, looking really sad. I feel sorry for him going through this at 46. Oldest son is lucky that he realized that his grandparents are shitty at 16. We're going to start couples counseling on Saturday. Thank God. So with that, it's obvious that OP's husband was still very much so in the fog in regards to his mother, which does tend to happen when one is manipulated their entire life by a soul-sucking demon. So hopefully, with reading and relating to others on the r/raised by narcissist subreddit and going to counseling, he wakes up and starts fighting harder for his kids and his wife. We can only hope. But anyway, that is all from me for part 1 today. I'm not sure how many parts there will be, but I'm thinking quite a few, possibly 5. So buckle up for those, and I will see you all in the next Just No Mail story. Bye!